Hi, this is Fake Life, and this is the Week 6 wrap-up for the Mister Hadwick Championship Invitational Season 1. That's right, there is only 1 week left. We are almost to the tournament bracket, and we almost know who's going to be in it. So let's get right into it. I'll tell you how the games last week went. First we had Six-Legged Spider's Dark Elves versus Sad Panda's Amazons, and Six-Legged Spider beat up on Panda 3-0. Despite the fact that Panda is the #1 seed in the tournament and is absolutely already qualified for the playoffs. We'll get into that a little bit, but Spider had 2 Assassins, and they're a great matchup against a bunch of Amazons that have 7 armor and block and dodge. Next we had Gilky's Humans versus Eki Thump's Corn Demons, and Gilky won that 2-0. So both of them are out. I'll show you the score, the rankings in a bit, but still playing for pride at this point and playing spoiler. Next is Yura Tall One versus Walrus. Both these guys are in the playoff hunt, and Yura beat Walrus 2-0. Walrus started off looking very strong, but the way he was saying it, he's kind of having the opposite season that Yura's having. Yura started off weak and is ending strong, and Walrus is the other way around. He started off real strong, but he's lost a couple of games now. And finally, we've got Heavy Weapons Gentlemen's Orcs against Torta's Dwarves, and unfortunately, we were not able to get in touch with Torta for this game to have it played. So, Heavy Weapons Gentlemen got the walkover, and that may have playoff implications. We'll see. Let's take a look at the current rankings. In first place is a Sad Panda with his Amazon team. Again, just like last week, he is qualified. He's in, it doesn't matter what happens. Then we have a tie for second between Six-Legged Spider, Walrus, and Yura Tall One. And after that, we have Torta in 5th, and Heavy Weapons Gentlemen, Gilky, and Eki Thump tied in 6th place with 5 points. So, playoff stuff. Panda's in, congratulations. Heavy Weapons Gentlemen, Gilky, and Eki Thump are out. Sorry guys, better luck next time, you don't have enough points. That leaves us with 3 slots and 4 people. Six-Legged Spider, Walrus, and Yura Tall One. Now, I was trying to do the playoff scenarios, guys. I said I was going to, but it got too hard. Everybody's tied. There's some ridiculous scenarios that go down to second tiebreakers and all that stuff, and it ended up being too complex. So just to sum this up, first of all, Torta's kind of the spoiler. If he wins, he's in. If he loses or draws, he is out and the entire playoff bracket's decided. So he's kind of the keystone for how crazy this is going to get. These other 3 guys, Spider, Walrus, and Yura, if any of them win, they're in. If they lose or draw, there are scenarios where all 3 of them could be eliminated, I believe. It involves, other people losing or drawing and, stuff getting a little crazy. But as far as I know, nobody's guaranteed a spot at this point but Panda. So it's all going to come down to, can Torta make his jump into the playoffs with a win here, or will the other guys hold him off? Like I said, out of these 4 people, if anybody wins, if any of these 4 people win their game, they're just automatically in. So there's tons and tons to play for in the last week. Let's take a look at the actual teams. So, Panda first, already qualified, so he would love to have a nice, easy game, but he's going into his next game a little beaten up by some assassins and some nasty armor breaks. Again, his team's been getting by with very, very little SPP. He's been making the most of it. And up until this recent game, he'd only had 1 point scored against him in the entire tournament up to his last game, and then he lost 3-0. So that game was pretty horrible for him. He now has a fractured skull on his blitzer, which is minus armor. He could get rid of that. I don't know if he will or not. We'll have to see. He's got block on his catcher, he's got block on his thrower, he's got block on his line women. So he made a bunch of blodgers. His team has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 blodgers at this point. So, despite his low TV, I think he's in a reasonably good place. Those are the skills you want to have. He's going to need a good recovery game. He's going to have to decide what he wants to do with this blitzer. And He's got it a little rough despite the fact that he's already qualified, but we'll see. Next is Six-Legged Spider. So his Dark Elves beat Panda. And now he's got 2 Blitzers with plus movement. Not just 1, but 2. He's got a Guard Blitzer, so he rolled doubles in that guy. Guard on any elf is great. He's got Strong Arm on his Runner, which means he rolled doubles on this Runner, and he's potentially going to be using him to pass. I'd have taken Guard, but more power to him. And he's got a lineman with Kick. So he's been sitting there really, really low TVs for a very, very long time in this league. But after rolling some doubles and getting some movement ups and stuff, his TV's up there now. And he's in second place. So suddenly he's looking a lot more scary all of a sudden. He was the team that was sitting there with no SPP. But he's getting there. Still only 2 rerolls, though. If he can afford it, I'm sure he would love to get maybe a 3rd reroll in his last game. We'll see. Next is Walrus and his Orcs. Since the early weeks, things haven't been going right for him. He's been losing a lot. He's lost a Blitzer he had to replace, played against Yura, and he named it something which I'm not going to repeat on stream, but you can see it for yourself. Other than that, his team's pretty much the same. He's still got his Agility Guard, and his Blitzers. And he's got 3 blocking Black Orcs and a block thrower, so a lot of block on this team as well. Still looking good. Despite the fact that he lost a guy and he's lost some games, if he can make it to the playoffs, this still looks like a really great team. Not much else to say. We've been talking about how good this team is and how the SPP's in all the right places, and it still is. He's doing good. So next is Yura. Yura's Dwarves, he's been making a late push. He is now tied for second with a bunch of other people. And he's got a plus strength Blitzer, and actually blocking both his runners is nice. The rest of these guys all have guard. So he's finally getting to that really critical amount of guard skill, which really makes the Dwarves click. He doesn't need to spend his money on anything. He can save it for inducing stuff in the finals or something if he wants it. He's got his pieces. He's got pretty good skill ups. He's really come around since he lost his first 2 games in this tournament. He absolutely has a great chance. And next is Torta. Like I said, Torta unfortunately forfeited his last game, and unfortunately, hasn't gotten a skill up for half the tournament. His runner got up to level 3 really, really fast, and other than that, nothing's been happening. Very, very low scoring games. Not much in the way of good SPP or MVPs. They've all been hitting the wrong guys. So, if he wins, he's in. And if he loses or draws, he's out. But his team, I think, is going to have a rough time against a lot of the other teams. He may be able to do well against Panda, because, Dwarves versus Amazons. But I think even if he makes it to the playoffs, it's going to be a little rough for him with his skill ups the way they are. Even if things go really well for him, he's still going to go in with a number of these Troll Slayers and Blitzers at level 1 still, which is unfortunate. But he still has a chance to make it in, so good luck. Heavy Weapons Gentleman, sadly eliminated at this point. He got the walkover win last week. He's got block on a Black Orc. He's also got his Blitzers leveled up, and he seems to be going to the Walrus school of level ups and getting nothing but agility and guard on them. And other than that, it's a lot like Walrus's team, but not as much SPP for the most part. He's got a Troll, though. The Troll hasn't gotten any SPP yet. He's been annoying. I've seen some of the games. He's been obnoxious, but not doing anything in terms of injuring people. Gilkey's Humans, another team that's finally starting to come around a little bit. SPP's mostly going in the right places. Got guard on his Ogre. You don't roll doubles. That's pretty much what you take. Guard Mighty Blow on a Blitzer's great. guard and another blitzer, and accurate on his thrower. So he's actually playing a passy game with this one catcher he's got down here. Again, eliminated, but his team's starting to look reasonable now. It took a little bit too long, unfortunately. And finally, we have Ekithump. And he's had a lot of people miss next game all the time in this tournament. But again, getting good skill ups. He's got block on all 3 of these pit fighter cultists, and he's got one he hasn't rolled yet, which if it's normals, I wouldn't be surprised if it's another block. We've got a bloodletter demon that's going to be missed next, which is unfortunate because that's the guard guy. And we've got a minus agility bloodletter demon with guard here. So, yeah, it's been rough. Like, this is just how Khorne is. If things were going well for him, you'd see a lot more SPP on this Bloodthirster here. He'd be really pounding things, but not happening. However, a bunch of block and pit fighter cultists makes the frenzy less terrible, and guard on his bloodletter demons helps as well. He's unfortunately not going to have all of that for the next game because this guy's out, but, you know, wish him the best of luck in his last game. So let's take a look at the calendar. You're a tall one versus six-legged spider. This is the game that's making the playoff math real hard for me. If either of these guys win, they're in. And if they draw or lose, the math starts getting more complex. I had it. Let's see. So these two haven't played, of course. We'll see what happens. If they get a draw, things could get real messy, though. It could go either way. I would give it to Yura just because those nice assassins he got, which were so helpful against Panda, not going to be as helpful against 9 armor. But we'll see. Like, he's been making Dark Elves work pretty well. Can't complain. Next we've got Gilkey and Heavy Weapons Gentlemen. Not a playoff game. These guys are both out. If I had to pick someone to win this game, I'd say maybe Gilkey, but this should be a really close game. The Ogre's a real nice piece. It's going to help on the line quite a bit. And the Black Orcs on Heavy Weapon Gentleman's team don't have a bunch of guard to take them down or anything. They'll have to do it manually. We'll see. Should be good. We have a Sad Panda versus Torta. Another game with playoff indications. Doesn't matter for Panda. If Torta wins, he's in. If he draws or loses, he's out. That is very simple. His playoff math's easy. I'd give this to Panda, but both these teams are real, like, low on TV and weird things can happen. It's also still Dwarves versus Amazons. He's got a million blodgers, but tackle's still a thing. Like, Panda could very easily lose this. I'll give the advantage to him, but may not happen that way. He could be in for a real rough playoffs if he gets beaten up 2 games in a row right before they start. And lastly, Ekithump versus Walrus. If Walrus wins, he's in. And Ekithump is real beat up. And as much as we were talking about Walrus's team being unlucky, he's basically kept almost all of the level ups. Like, losing his Blitzer with guard was annoying, but he's still got most of his levels. He's still got a big advantage in this game, I would say. And guard just messes up the Khorne's chance of getting really good frenzy blocks. So I give this one to Walrus. And that's it. So thanks for watching. We'll see what happens in the next week. I know at least one of these games wants to be played on the Friday stream, so tune in on Friday if you want to see it. Other than that, if you have anything else you want to see, or anything else you want to let me know, or just comments for the players, leave them in the comments of this video. And other than that, thanks for watching. I'm Fake Life. This has been the Week 6 wrap-up for Mister Hadwick Championship Invitational, and I will see you later.